Although this cylinder head was broken, it can still be repaired in Pakistan. The master needs to use a simple hot welding method to restore the engine cylinder head to normal use. The owner of the 100-ton King car in Peshawar in front of him accidentally broke the engine cylinder head into 2 sections. He could not buy suitable accessories for the car model with a port. He had no choice but to send it to their repair shop to let the master weld the cylinder head and continue to use it. Because the cylinder head is a precision component, Fu said that it would cost 7,000 rupees to completely repair it. Before the formal welding, the fracture surface must be polished first. The edge can form a certain groove to ensure that the welding area of the cylinder head can be increased. After the master quickly polished it, in order to prevent the welding from damaging the internal valve guide, Fu also needs to use a wolf head to remove it all to prevent the guide from being deformed by heat and unable to be used. After the 12 guides were removed, there was no horizontal surface for direct welding, so the master had to use the holes on the cylinder head to lock the cylinder plate with bolts. The width of the crack can be restored to maintain horizontality. The length of the repaired steel cover changes. When the steel cover is fixed by 2 steel plates, its horizontality should be measured with the help of steel teeth. The unqualified steel surface will affect the subsequent use. After the master's careful measurement, the oil port should be sealed in advance with a plated head. Welding will also cause the oil hole to be blocked. For this kind of steel cover with high air tightness requirements, welding is far from meeting the use requirements. It is necessary to use a high-requirement hot welding method. The main purpose is to increase the temperature of the main body of the steel cover. This is because the hot welding method requires strict temperature control. The higher the temperature, the better the welding effect. When the temperature rises completely, Fu also quickly uses a circle of jade welding saw for melting welding. The solution of the welding saw can quickly fill the entire gap. Although the surface of the steel cover is insulated with iron sheets, in order to prevent the temperature from dropping and causing the welding to be weak, Fu must speed up the welding speed until the surface cracks are completely covered by the welding saw, because the cracks on both sides are under the steel plate. The steel cover will not be blindly covered. The fixed steel plates need to be separated so that the cracks can be filled with welding saws. Small cracks can also cause the steel cover to leak. The master consumed 10 welding saws for hot welding. The steel cover was welded into a hole. Because the height of the welding bar cannot be controlled, it needs to be polished before the washing machine processing. The height of the welding bar is too different from the steel plane. After the master's simple pre-processing, because their repair shop does not have a high-end washing machine, in order to restore the steel cover, it is necessary to send it to a pier 500 meters away for processing. Before the formal cutting, steel paper should be used to check the valve feeler gauge. Only in this way can the final cutting thickness be determined. Then the cutter head is completely fitted to the steel plane. Under the premise of fixing the height, the first step is to process the welding bar. The main purpose is to remove the part higher than the steel plane and minimize the gap between the two. Only then can the master cut the entire steel plane as a whole and restore the original flatness of the steel plane. Make the steel cover thinner. As long as the steel cover is within 25 C, it can still be used after being flattened. After the master's half-hour processing, the steel cover still does not meet the use standard. The valve seat needs to be recut to improve the air-to-valve compatibility. The master quickly processed the intake and exhaust valves to make the valves completely flush with the steel plane. Some valves need to be repeatedly rubbed against the valve seat to restore the steel cover to its optimal operating state. The engine steel cover that was broken into 2 sections was welded by heat welding. What do you think of the Pakistani master skills?